Hi everyone, welcome to session 5 of DCKAP Integrator Foundation series. In this session, we'll learn how we can create a simple workflow in DCKAP Integrator. Before moving forward, let's have a quick recap. So in the last session, we have learned like how we can add, configure and test API. We saw two methods, request method, get and post, and we saw like how we can test the API within DCKAP integrator itself. So what we'll do in this session? So in this session, we'll connect two systems, BigCommerce, which is a e-commerce, and Salesforce, which is a CRM. So here you can see this is system 1, this is system 2. And the same way we'll do with the help of API, DCKAP Integrator will connect these two systems. Today you will see this in live action form. We'll create a simple workflow to move customer data. So today we will be moving customer data from BigCommerce to Salesforce. And this will create a lead in Salesforce. So to sum up, the use case or business logic is like when a new customer logs in BigCommerce store, or let's say the customer buys from BigCommerce store. So in that type of scenario, it will create lead in Salesforce. So data will be passed to the Salesforce and it will create a lead. So your marketing and sales team can then follow up with them with offers or lucrative deals. So now we'll move on to the DCKAP integrator screen. So to create any workflow, you need to log in the project. You need to create the project, and then you'll see here on the left hand side, the icon is there. So this is the workflow icon. When you click here, this screen will come. Okay, here you can see in the top, at the top right corner, add workflow option is there. When we click on add workflow, so let's say first we need to give the name. So I'm giving this customer sync. So here you'll see two options, batch type integration and dynamic type integration. So these are the type of integrations that DCKAP integrator offers. So the difference is that in batch type integration, it means that data sync can happen periodically within configured time intervals. So let's say you don't have to come and just, look into the sync. So you can either do that, but you need to do it manual sync when you are in hurry and you want to look into the specific data. In that case, you can do it via manual sync. But let's say you want to put it in the autopilot mode so that integrator takes care of it. So in that case, we need to use batch type integration. And when we talk about the dynamic type integration, here also it's written real time. So this is like it enables real-time synchronization. So using API calls from any system. So it will give you real-time data. So today we'll be using batch type integration. So we need to click on start building. This screen will come. So here only we'll create the workflow, simple workflow. But before creating, here are few points. So this is the project name. This is your workflow name. This is the axis and this is the time zone. Okay. Before starting with any workflow, what we need to do, we need to come to the settings and switch on the console logs so that we can track steps and look into the specific activity if we want to. Okay. So today, like we'll be moving from BigCommerce to Salesforce. So we'll be using systems and tools that are present here. So first, I'll choose formatter. So formatter is like, it is a tool, it helps to convert, okay, let's say one data form to another. Here you can see the options, JSON to string, string to JSON, XML to JSON. But today we'll be using for time zone, convert time zone. And here you can see the data hub. Here you'll see the values. Okay, for example, this is the node. Here you can see the plus sign. And when you click here, you will see the subnodes. So I need data from BigCommerce. So let's say whosoever is entering, I need that. So I need as per the updated time. So for that thing, I'm selecting last sync time. Okay. So time zone, from which time zone to which time zone you need. So here I'm okay with UTC. Okay. In the output format, I'm giving the value. So it's like year, month, day, hour, minute, second. Okay. I'll enable the console log. So here, please note here one point. When we enable the console log here, then only that entry will come in the console logs, which is like it will tell you the logs of each and every step. We'll see that also. And I'll save it. So here you can see now it is coming as add step. Here you will see 1. So that means this is step number 1. And here some other functions are there, skip, cut, copy, delete. So these options are there. I'll let you know like how to use that. So here we have set up like we need updated data. So for that purpose, we added the format. Now I'll add the code runner. So code runner I'm adding because I want my data to be properly arranged, and that is like readable. It should not be in any what to say clumsy manner. So for that purpose I'm using code runner. So I'm just giving a name. Always remember, give title to your tools, because later on in console logs it will be easier to know like where error occurred. Initiation. Okay, so here I'm using code runner to create a page. Okay, I want my data entries to be there in page. So that's why I'm using code runner here. I'll open the console logs, enable I mean, and here I'll give the code. So here you see response equals to page 1. So that means it will create a page, and I'll save it. Okay, so now we have created time, then we have created page. Now let's create the limit. For example, so the page is 1, okay, but let's say I have 1,000 entries. So in that case, it will appear on that particular page. So I want to set the limit so that that particular number, let's say 10, 20, 30, it will appear on page. So for that purpose, first I'll use loop until break, because I don't know how many records are there. Okay, so for here, I'm using loop, and I'll just give the name pagination, because after page, I'm just doing it. So the loop is there. Now we'll add the BigCommerce. So now I'll be using system. So BigCommerce. So one thing I'll like to highlight here. So here, you must have seen like how we can add API and set up credentials. If you have not seen, please go through our last videos. You'll get to know. When you set up early while setting up the system, then only it will appear here. So here, like I'll say get all customers, because I need the customer data, and credentials I have already created prior this session. So I'm just doing that. So here you'll see, because this is a GET API, so we don't need to we don't need to use payload. So response validation, metastatus code 200. This is fine. In advanced option, we'll set up some parameters. Okay, so the parameters are like, first I'll set up the limit. So let's say I want 10 entries per page. Okay, then so for this thing, you need to refer the system documentation. In this case, it's BigCommerce documentation. Okay, so date modified min. So meaning is that I need updated time record. So for that purpose, I'm selecting this, because in formatter first step only we have set up that. And for page, it's like dot here. So here we are specifying our parameters. And remember one thing. So for systems and API, make sure you always enable the console logs, because it will be easier to track later on. So now here you can see the picture. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the steps. Okay. So now we are saying if there is a response in BigCommerce, someone logged in or someone made a purchase. So then what they'll do, for that we need to figure out. So I'll use the decision. So in the decision tool, so it is used to make a decision if this or not, like that decision is required. So here what I'll do is I'll say response exists and response exists. And data. So why I'm doing like this? BigCommerce response data, okay, is true. That means if it is present, then proceed, like that. Okay, so this is step 5. Now after this, I'll set up another code runner. So this code runner is like, so we have set up page, we have set up last sync time, we have set up page limit. Now let's say if there are 30 entries. So I said like page limit is around 10 entries, right? So in that case, page need to be incremented, page number need to be incremented. So for that purpose, I'm using code runner here. Okay, so here I'll just give the name page modify, and here I'll give variable. So variable is like 2, because I want, so here I gave page, so now I'm asking for like the increment of page number. Okay, and in the record, I mean the editor, so code runner is usually used for writing Python scripts. So I'm just giving here the code and I'll save it. So now I'll replace this code runner with this, because page is already set up. Now I want page to be incremented. So why not apply this condition? So it will give us the page number with the proper data. So that's how we used to replace. Okay. So this is step 6. So in the step 7, we'll be again using loop. But here is the difference. By this time, we are saying like the workflow must know like how many entries are there, because we hit the API here. So decision, code runner, so it moved that way. So now here we'll be selecting loop through values. So in this case, I'm just saying looping customers. And here in iterable, I'll just select response and data. BigCommerce response data. So it is based on that. So if we select like that, so you can see it appears like this. Okay. And dot date, it is, so when we are writing like this, for dot response dot data, we can either type it or we can select from the data hub. Dot data is necessary for mapping. Okay. So always remember that. And we'll enable console and save it. After loop, now we'll add the Salesforce. Okay, in the Salesforce, so now we are saying that if data is present, if the entries are there, then I'm saying to the Salesforce that look for a lead, search a lead. So that's why here I'm adding search a lead option. And then next. So in this case, what you can do is, so here we don't need to give the payload. Instead, we'll give the parameters. So for this parameter, I'm telling you again, so for when we are writing the parameters, always refer to the documentation of that particular system. So Q and these things, I'll show you what I'm doing. Can you see this? So I'm saying that, so give the data in this form, ID, first name, last name, company, email, like that. Okay. And we'll enable the console log and save it. So now it will search the link. Next is, we'll put up the decision step next. So in the decision, one thing I want to tell you, if let's say you are not sure about the tools, always, refer the content that is present in the LMS. So basic details of tools are there in the form of videos as well as the written content. So do refer to understand what that particular tool used for. So for decision, I'm saying that create customer. Okay, so I'm saying like response. Sorry, I just missed that. 8 response dot records is false. So here meaning is that, let's say if it is searching for the lead and data is present. So it might be the case that the same previous customer is placing another order. Okay, so in that case, that is not the lead because we are seeking new customer. Okay, so that's why we are saying if the response in records is false, then create customer. So now after this step, we'll add the system, Salesforce system. So now we'll say that create a lead. Here you can see it is post. So we are using post API and the credentials. So now here we'll be giving the payload because it's a post API. Okay, so in the post API, will give, so from the looping, some entries are coming. So we'll say that 7.item. Okay. And in response validation, so it is 200. That means entries are there. Okay. To create, and when the entry got created, we say that it is equal to 201, that code. Okay. So after setting up this, let's move to the mapping. We'll click on add mapping. Here you can see. So this is the source path. Okay. And this is the destination path, or we can say source API or destination API, source system or destination system. So these are the fields which will be used for mapping. So I'll quickly do that. So let's say I need the data in the form of first name, and then I am looking for the last name. Let's say I'm not able to locate it. So what I can do is I can even type and drag. Okay. And then let's say I'm taking the company email. So these 4 fields I'm taking. So now here you can see in the middle, the modifier is there. So for example, I'm doing it for the example case. Let's say I want uppercase for the first name. So you see, can you see this? So the functions are coming. Whatever you need, you can type and then look for the functions. Okay, so I'm selecting upper. So it will convert like the name in all the uppercase. I mean, all letters in uppercase. Okay, so I'm saying the first name. Okay, and I'll save it. I'll show you what will happen. So let's say I want to try it. How I can do that? Let's say I'm typing John. Okay, now see. All letters are in uppercase. So that's how modifiers work. So we'll keep it like that. Save and exit. And this is all set. Now we'll set up another step. Here we'll add detail logger. So it's like success case. So if that entry got created, so in that case, what step we need to do? So if it is success, so we'll say that here we need to select 7 item dot ID. ID is also required because it's talking about entity ID, and here I'm saying that the BigCommerce customer created in Salesforce. Okay, and then this, or I'll just quickly do that here. Now, one thing that is very important, you see here, update counters. Meaning is that, let's say total records, we want to know how many failed, how many succeeded. So for that purpose, we use update counters. Always select that. Enable it. So you'll see this as a step 11. Just a minute, I'll just check. Yeah, here I forgot to enable the console logs. So now you'll see how I'll copy paste. So I'm copying this step. If response is not valid, so here you'll see paste the step. I'll do that. Now it got pasted. Now I'll just select the failure case because the entity ID and detail message in this case will be the same, just that short message I'll be changing. are not created in Salesforce. Okay, and we'll save. Now, one thing that is very important, when we choose loop till break, then we need to add the break also, okay, in that particular loop. So for that purpose, we are just adding here the break. Okay, in break step, we need to tell this conditions like what can, when it need to break. So it's like this, it is not equal to 200. So I'm saying that if the meta status is not equal to 200, then break the loop. Okay, similarly, or I'm saying if the response dot data is false, in that case, break the loop quickly. And I'll just save it. Okay, let me check the detail log if I have enabled. Yeah, it's enabled. Okay, so that's how we used to set up the work. Okay, so to sync the workflow, here I am doing the manual sync. That's why it's batch integration. We can put it on autopilot mode also when we don't want to do it manually. So this flexibility is there. So first I'll save this workflow. So my workflow is saved. Now I'll click on sync now. We'll wait. Here you'll see the log. So that's why I was telling you to, enable the console log in each and every step. So here you'll see. So now there is no entry. So it says like break condition satisfied. Okay, and the loop break. Now I'll show you like how this thing will work. Just a minute. I'll check the store. Okay, I saw an entry. So let me just. I'll save it and then I'll sync again. You saw here succeeded. 2 entries we got. So how to check that? In the logs, you'll see. So step 4, what happened? Step 5, what happened? Okay, so each and every detail is available. So let's say step 4. Step 4 was of BigCommerce. So let's see. Status goes 200. So like that, you can see this in detail. Okay, so I'll just quickly check. Yeah, here. If you see this is the lead. You can see here. Linda Johns 14 at the gmail.com CVSL. So this is what we have used in mapping, and you see the lead here. Now, I'll also show you how to check it in the Salesforce. Okay, I'm just giving the password. So this is the Salesforce store. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll just copy this email. Just put it in the search and see if this entry is there or not. Can you see this? This entry is there. So the lead is created. Now the team can use this to send them offers, deals. So that's how we used to sync data from one system to another. So this was just the representation, like how we can move the data. So you can also do it for order sync, inventory sync, like that. And few points I want to make it clear. To understand each tool type and what it does, always refer to the course, DCKAP Integration Developer course that is present on the LMS. On YouTube also some videos are there. And also for API creation and configuration and testing the API, refer to the previous session. Those sessions are also available on the LMS.